From sunny Melbourne, welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
Coming up this week, we hear from the CEO of Strava and discuss their big move to get more of us to pay to subscribe.
We've got 2 Everesting world records, some hot new tech, and racing that comes even sooner than expected.
Ooh. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that it's great when talented bike riders have too much time on their hands. This is an outtake from the most recent video from the ridiculously amazing Fabio Wibmer. And I've got to say, James, I would love to know just how many times he had to do that before getting that bag in the bin.
Well, I think we can tell by the shout at the end that it took quite a while, but it's an absolute brilliant video and you definitely need to check it out.
Yeah. Now, we also learned this week that Strava Pro Phil Gaiman has just smashed the Everesting world record. So that's where you cycle up and down the same hill until you've climbed a total of 8,848 metres, the equivalent height of Everest, of course. And it took him just 7 hours, 52 minutes.
And we were genuinely impressed, Phil. That is until, though, US national mountain bike champion Keegan Svensson went and smashed it, knocking 12 minutes off the new record. And he did it all at altitude, just for good measure.
Yeah. Oh. That is impressive, isn't it? Now, both riders were doing it to raise money for charity. Gaiman was doing it for No Kid Hungry, and Svensson for Bike MS, which raises money for people with multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think to do an Everesting, it's got to take you around 13 hours just to, well, it sounds a bit more impressive. He did it in 7 hours and 14 minutes, and that just sounds like a good day out, doesn't it?
Well, not even a good day out. That's like a half day. That's like, you could do that before lunch, I reckon. Yeah, Ollie definitely looked like he worked harder for his, didn't he? No, to be fair to him, Svensson did say that was the hardest thing he's ever done on a bike. And he does look quite puffed out, doesn't he, in that photo of him afterwards. Right then, on to the big story for this week. Yesterday, Strava announced probably their biggest news for certainly quite some time, in amongst a whole raft of new features like improved route finding on the desktop version and enhanced training analysis, was that a lot of segment functionality, so the most popular function on Strava, would now be going behind the paywall. But that Strava Summit, which is the paid for version, would no longer exist. Instead, you'd have Strava, which you pay for, and then a pared down free version. Now, the community aspect will still be there, so you can still upload your rides, you can still follow other riders, receive kudos, make comments, that kind of thing. And also, the top 10 times for men and women for each and every segment will still be displayed. However, to get your time and anything else beyond that will require you to subscribe. To do that is, if you work it out from an annual membership, about $5 or €5 or £4 per month. Now, that doesn't seem like a massive amount of money, certainly not if you've been bitten by the cycling bug. However, if you've been using Strava for years without paying, I think it's going to come as quite a shock, especially as when it comes to segments, there's no alternative. Like, Strava kind of owns segments, so you can't find a free version. Now, we caught up with Strava's CEO, Michael Horvath, who's actually one of the company's 2 founders, to find out why, basically. Oh, by the way, I've got to apologise for the quality of that video call. Slightly embarrassing, interviewing the boss of a tech company and having crap home Wi-Fi, but there we go. Hopefully he likes the alliums instead. Michael, thanks so much for joining us here at GCN and answering some of our questions.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Simon.
So I guess it's fair to say Strava has evolved loads over the years, loads of features, loads of developments. But I think for a lot of us, the kind of core user experience that brings us back time and again has remained quite similar. But this feels like perhaps the biggest shift we've had in terms of that boundary between the free service and the paid for service. I'm really interested to know why Strava then have made this change and why now?
Yeah, it's really a question of how we're building our business for the very long run. That's really the driver here. This has been a momentous year for the world. As everyone knows, 2020 has been a year of regaining a lot of perspective. When I and my co-founder, Mark Gainey, returned to leading the company, we did it for a single purpose, which is to rededicate Strava to the community of athletes that make it up. And that's a commitment to longevity. So we're not yet a profitable company, and we need to become one in order to continue to serve athletes for generations to come.
Yeah, and now it's funny, I was sort of doing a bit of background research before talking to you, and I found an interview that you'd given in 2012 where you said the subscription was very much at the core of the business then as well. So is this sort of resetting of the boundaries now sort of more calculated to effectively leverage more people onto the paid for service?
Yeah, it's a statement of what we intend to do to build the business going forward, and that is to focus on the subscription offering and build and innovate for the subscriber, invest the most in the people who have invested in us. The aspects of Strava that are the most complex and expensive to maintain, like segment leaderboards, they will now become a subscription feature. And going forward, much of our development will be for subscribers. We'll invest the most in those athletes who have invested in us.
Yeah. Going back to that point about segments, you say that's the most expensive or one of the most expensive parts of the business to run. And yet it's kind of, I suppose it's one of the key pillars of the Strava experience. But I'd kind of not really thought that there was a cost attached to it, I suppose.
Yeah, technology isn't free on our side, definitely not. And what we're really excited about is also thinking through what this enables in terms of fueling further innovation, as we're releasing a whole lot of things this year, over 50 athlete-facing features like Route Builder for mobile, Route Builder on web. We've released features around training. We've released things that related to improving the Strava experience in general around our feed experience.
Do you think, in hindsight, the initial kind of free Strava was simply too good? There was just so many features in it that people felt perhaps it was harder to convince them to get a premium subscription.
Yeah, I think where you're hitting is definitely something that we think about a lot is the balance between the two. We want the free experience to be a great place to start. The free experience must remain high quality and useful. But a Strava subscription is what we believe will give an athlete the complete experience.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you must be absolutely flat out today, so I won't keep you much longer. But if you've got one last sort of message for the Strava community, what would it be on a day like today?
I think that it's the following, which is that by making a Strava subscription clearer to understand and building more value there, we believe this is good news for the community. We're building Strava for you. We believe that athletes deserve a source of motivation in their life, and that's what Strava has always been about. That's what our founding principle is around, connecting athletes to what motivates them. We believe that makes you better. We believe that's the aspect of what you value out of Strava, and that's our commitment to longevity, and to being here for you in the very long run.
Okay, James, you don't need to make your mind up right now, because I believe there's going to be a couple of weeks grace period before these new changes come into effect, and there's going to be a trial period for people to dip their toe into the water. But do you think that you are going to pay for Strava from now on?
I mean, it is a huge news site, and now I think about it, it's like the cost of a coffee and a cake, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for what you get back out of Strava, I think I probably would. I think I will. Actually.
Yeah. You know, the only trouble with that coffee and cake analogy is that you can use it to justify an awful lot of things, like coffee and cake, and before long you've spent a fortune every month. But I know what you mean. True. I mean, it doesn't add up. The timing of it isn't great given the current coronavirus crisis, but clearly this has been something they've been planning for a lot longer than the pandemic. I think I'm increasingly realizing how much it costs to run digital platforms. I think we've all been conditioned to expect it for free because of, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and most of our news outlets and stuff. But when you hear that they're losing money and Strava users have rejected ads on the platform and they don't want that, so they've got no choice. And then you think, well, actually, yeah, if it's a case of Strava that you pay for or no Strava, then 100%, yeah, I'd pay for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. But what I want to know, Si, is, do you guys in the audience, do you pay for Strava? Will you start paying for Strava? And should you? pay with Strava? Let us know in that comment section below.
I've been keeping my eye on the comments underneath the GCN show for the past 2 weeks, and I managed to find one that asked where I was. So here is your answer. I've actually been in a studio doing something called Giro d'Italia Classic Stages. So over 3 weeks, and we're about halfway through it now, we've been looking back, and will be looking back, at some of the best Giro stages from the past 7 editions of the race, and there have been some great ones. It's just not a normal replay. We've also got extra insight on what happened on those days from the rides involved, and also from some key journalists and team staff. So it's been really good fun, and I think quite entertaining, judging by the comments. If you haven't seen it already, it is available for you over on the GCN app and also on Eurosport. And if you've missed it so far, it's available on demand on the GCN app, so it's all there if you want to go there and watch it now. Today we're starting with 2016, so we've done 2013 through to 2015. 2016, some of you remember, was quite a memorable edition of the race with a huge plot twist right at the very end. So very much welcome your company today if you haven't been with us already. See you later on.
It's now time for our weekly inspiration, that part of the show where we pick out some of the very best, most inspirational photos that you've uploaded to the GCN app, pull out the top 3 and award prizes for it. James, who rounds out the podium in third this week?
In third place, we got Mike F winning a chill out bundle for this photo of West Yorkshire in the moors. Absolutely stunning photo. And I think you would agree, Si, it's always quite difficult riding across those moors because there's always a crosswind or a headwind. I've never ridden across moors with a tailwind.
I suspect there's a road just out of shot there, James, if I didn't know any better. So he won't have to contend with a tussocky grass. But I know what you mean. It is very windy, but yeah, beautiful, and such a classic like Yorkshire scene, that, isn't it? For any viewers that haven't ever had the pleasure of going to Yorkshire, riding across there is something else, isn't it? Right then, second prize this week is a garden workout bundle, which I still think is the best named bundle in the history of all bundles. The winner of it is Monroe SM1, inspired by following a fearless Bavarian local into a thunderstorm. We both survived, and I don't know about you, James, a dramatic photo, but if it was me, I'd be riding the other way.
I mean, I love that. It's proper, like, the perfect storm poster, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I'm with you there. I'd keep to the sunshine and quickly do a Yui.
Yeah. That does look epic, doesn't it? Absolutely fantastic shot. Well done. So yeah, kind of inspiring in a 180-degree turn, don't go as fast as you can way. But no, I like it. Right then, finally in first place, shall I say? Who is this week's winner, James?
In first place, we got Danielus. I think that's how you pronounce your name. As we know, Si, I'm not the best on my pronunciation, but
Daniel Oz, I'm guessing. Yeah.
There we go. In Dandenong ranges in east of Melbourne in Australia, and I think you would agree, Si, this is pretty inspirational, isn't it? I think that would win any Instagram picture of the year. I absolutely love it, and don't tell me you've been there, Si.
Well, funny you mention that. I'm familiar with the Dandenongs. I am indeed. It's been a while, but no, absolutely fantastic shot, isn't it? That's the kind of shot that you want on your desktop, on your computer, isn't it? Just to that truly is just fantastic. Daniel,
100%. And I think, Si, we should play a game with where have you not been? Because every time we play this game, you seem to have been to every place that we put a photo of. So,
I play it all the time, actually, with my wife. It's called Been There, and it's her least favourite game. She absolutely hates it. But
I'm not surprised.
But yeah, it's great fun. Oh yeah, been there. Yeah, been there. And the trouble is, it's always, I've ridden my bike there, haven't I? So it does get a bit monotonous, but still, I think it's fantastic. But anyway, there we go. It's 3 awesome inspirational photos. If you would like to submit a photo, then do so through the GCN app. You should know how by now, but certainly the first step is to download the app and get involved. And then we will pick out our 3 favourites next week.
It's now time for Cycling Shorts.
Cycling Shorts now. I'm going to kick things off with news of the man who last year cycled around the same roundabout 3,065 times in a single day in order to raise money for World Bicycle Relief.
And his name is David Schweikart, and he was at it again, circling 240 different roundabouts, all in a 24-hour period last week, and he did it again, raising money for World Bicycle Relief.
Mighty impressive. 457 kilometres in order to do those 240 roundabouts. But you know what I find so striking about this story, aside from the fact that David's quite clearly, brilliantly bonkers, is the fact that I thought the roundabout was a completely alien concept to residents of the United States. But no, clearly the people of Carmel have taken the roundabout to their hearts because they've built 122 of them. That was half of Dave's total in one town.
There you have it, Si. I guess every day's a school day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned Everesting at the top of the show, and we wanted to give a shout out to longtime supporter and friend of GCN, Michael Lavelle, for his virtual Everesting, raising £100,000 for charity in the process. So massive well done to you.
It took him 9 hours, 15 minutes, which is super quick, but going back to our point earlier, it's not so quick that actually it doesn't sound impressive. That does sound like a proper day out, doesn't it? At 255 watts, it clearly was a proper day out. And top marks for the Pain Cave as well, Michael, there. Right, now there were some big announcements from the world of professional cycling last week, specifically two of the biggest riders in the women's peloton, Anna van der Breggen and Chantal van den Broek, both announced the dates of their retirements, and they're not far off, 2021 and spring 2021 respectively.
This is huge news for the world of professional cycling, as both riders were still in top form, and I guess it was news we weren't expecting. They're both just 30 years of age.
Yeah, from where I sit, James, that's really young. They've got years left in them, a lot of years before they start to slide, I think. Now, Van der Breggen was the world champ in 2018. Van der Broek was world champ in 2017. But collectively, they have won just about everything there is to win in pro cycling. But while I would say that their team, Bols Dolmans, because they both ride for the same team, would miss them, that's not quite the case, is it?
No, both riders are moving on, but they're moving on to different roles within the team. So they're going to leadership and coaching roles.
Yeah, we're definitely going to miss them on the road, aren't we? But I think it's fantastic news, really, because successful riders staying in the sport and passing on their knowledge and experience to younger riders is a really important part of cycling, isn't it? And so the fact that these two big hitters are going to stay within the sport, I just think that's great. Some science now, and do you want to help with some cool research into athlete training attitudes and beliefs during the current COVID-19 pandemic? Sure you do. A friend of GCN, Stephen Chung, has just got in touch to say there's a huge piece of research taking place worldwide that's looking into exactly that. And all it's waiting for is for you to answer a quick questionnaire. So if you want to get involved, the link to that is in the description beneath this video.
Right side, brace yourself for this one. Lance Armstrong is back.
What?
Well, when I say he's back hitting the headlines, but this time on your TV screens. Yeah, a trailer has just been released and it's got people, well, across the whole cycling world talking. Is this the time where we're going to hear Lance Armstrong tell the truth? This documentary series is going to be aired on 24th of May at 9 p.m. ETD on ESPN. And if I'm going to be honest, Si, I'm looking forward to this one. It's highly anticipated.
I am as well, I'm afraid to say. I mean, he's been quoted as saying, "I'm not going to lie to you," but it should probably be more like, "I'm not going to lie to you this time," shouldn't it? Because we've definitely heard that before. So whether we will hear the truth or not, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty tawdry part of cycling's history, but it's kind of endlessly fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably watch that begrudgingly at some point.
You're tuned in.
Yeah.
Now, the UCI announced that the pro cycling calendar would start on the 1st of August, fingers crossed. But actually, the HTV Cup, the famous HTV Cup in Vietnam, is starting today.
Yeah. Now, when you say famous HTV Cup, James, I must confess I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah, nor had I.
And in the amazing game of Been There, I haven't been there, unfortunately, to Vietnam, sadly. But this race sounds epic, doesn't it? 18 stages, starting today, the 18th of May, and going through to the 7th of June. So yeah, pro cycling is back on. And the reason they've been able to do it is because, well, Vietnam has, touched wood, been very lightly hit by coronavirus. So 288 cases confirmed and no deaths at the moment. So long may that continue.
Yeah, very lucky indeed. Now, on other news site, here in the UK, races are still being cancelled, but the restrictions for exercising has been lifted. Now, a famous race in the UK cycling programme is, of course, the Tour de Yorkshire. And local lad Connor Swift decided that he wanted to show off his new team colours, Archaea Samsic, and ride the whole race, or the whole route, solo. Yeah, it's a lone breakaway that, mate. That's a long one.
Well, yeah, does that mean he's won?
I guess it probably does, yeah. And so we
Smart
spoke
move,
to him after stage 3 to see how he's getting on.
I've just decided to, do this year's Tour de Yorkshire because obviously the race was postponed. I come from Yorkshire, it's a race that I really love, and going out solo in this time without any group rides or chain gangs, it was a little bit demotivating, so I just wanted something, to spark that motivation again. There's some races in sight now, and I just thought, go out there, do a solo Tour de Yorkshire, and it'd be great for morale, get a bit of social media following, and people have been loving it. Made a video recap every day. The team jumped on board, Tour de Yorkshire's jumped on board. So it's been great, and I've got a final stage tomorrow, even though I think today was the hardest one. It was pretty brutal. 3,000 metres of climbing in 130k on these roads ain't nice. Cheers, guys.
Right, on to some tech news now, and we have got some new helmets. Check them out. No new Lycra yet, before you say anything, but yeah, Giro have just come on board, I'm delighted to say, as our new helmet partner. So I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. I've been sent a Vanquish, which now is probably not the time to try and show it off, given that I'm sat in my living room, I'm still wearing tracksuit trousers and slippers. But Greg Van Avermaet makes it look pretty cool, so I'm hopeful. What have you got?
You should be, Si. I've got the Ether. French wheel brand Corma has just launched some new gravel wheels. Now, these are tubeless ready. They have the hookless system inside, and they're also 22mm wide internally, and they've also got their tried and tested structural reinforced foam also. So yeah, these wheels are full of tech, aren't they, Si?
They are indeed, mate. They are indeed. Right, last bit of new tech. I was, very luckily sent some very shiny SRAM Force Wide components last week, and why don't we step outside into my second studio to hear about that?
Oh, Si, I'm excited to see what's in your garden.
Right, you join me in this crucible of hot new tech. It's also known as my garden. Now you see, in with those Zip 303S wheels that I showed on GCN last week, SRAM also included a new, very interesting update to their Force ETAP Access group set called Force Wide. Now, you see, when Force ETAP Access was launched last year, I think fans of SRAM's one-by drivetrains were left with a slightly more restricted choice of cassettes, because you only had a 1033 largest cassette choice on Force, and whilst you could pair it up with a 10 to 50 mountain bike cassette, you needed a mountain bike rear derailleur as well. However, with this, they've just introduced a 10 to 36 cassette, which is excellent. But let's not beat around the bush here. This is not about SRAM One By, because they've also introduced this. Ta-da! A new double chain set, but with kind of like super compact size ring. So that is a 4330. Now, for gear ratio nerds out there, that gives you an equivalent top gear of slightly smaller than 5011, but slightly larger than 5012 when paired with that 10-tooth cassette at the back. So pretty amazing what you can get out of a 43 when you've got a 10 on the back. Now, SRAM say that this is not a gravel-specific group set. This is for anyone riding with drop handlebars, roadies that like super long, super extreme climbs, or bike packers, I'm thinking, who with heavily laden bikes are going to be moving that little bit slower. But there is something in here for gravelers to absolutely rejoice at as well. And that is this. Ta-da! The new front derailleur, which when paired with this chain set allows you to fit a 45mm wide tyre in the back of your bike. So previously you were limited to 42mm. certainly on SRAM Force, but also I think on Shimano GRX group sets as well. But now you can get that 45 in there. The reason being is this. So this is obviously the other half of that. Now that axle is slightly longer, which allows you to space the chainset out a little bit more, and therefore the front derailleur can be spaced out a little bit more, and you can squeeze that tyre in. What it also means is that longer axle increases the versatility, so you can fit this in a standard frame set, a road or gravel frame set with a 68mm wide bottom bracket, but it would also fit into a 73mm wide mountain bike bottom bracket as well. Now it does space your Q factor out by an additional 5mm, but that's some pretty cool versatility in there as well. Now the final component I've got down there is of course a rear derailleur, which you will also need to increase that max tooth capacity up to a 36 from a standard 33 on a Force group set.
It's now time for hack/Bodge. Now we're kicking off this week with one in sent in from Sajuk. Now he's recycled his helmet box and made a cat palace. And if you ask me, it looks pretty good.
Well, the cat looks happy, doesn't it, to be fair? And
the box hasn't really changed, has it? But I like it.
Yeah. Well, and the audience, you, the app users, the viewers, think it's pretty good too. 74% of you say hack, which I'd say that is probably a hack, isn't it? Fair enough, especially if there's still some kind of foam in there. Keep the cat nice and comfy.
Yeah,
right, next up,
my new Giro box a cat home. I might.
Have you got a cat?
Well, I managed to adopt one. It's come over, and every now and again I get a bit of milk. So I might see if the cat home box works.
There we go, it'll be a permanent residency. Yeah. Right, next up we got this one from JAKP993, which is something that I could definitely use. Okay, so I'm tempted to say hack already. Get phone out of sweat zone. So he's basically zip tied a tube of some kind. What is that? It's probably a piece of closet clothes rail, and then stuck his phone on it. But I think that's cool, because the trouble is when you got your phone on your bars and you get out of the seat, I have a tendency to drip on it. So that looks quite good, I think.
You and me both, Si. Yeah, we both fair to say we sweat quite a considerable amount. So yeah, I would say it's a hack too. But what do the GCN app audience say?
Well, only 55% say hack. That's a bit cheeky. I'm not sure about that. Can I let you in on a disgusting story? When I was doing my Forward to Fitness, and I was writing messages to the group on the workouts, and I accidentally dropped my phone, and it landed in a proper puddle of sweat, screen down. And I was like, oh no.
Well, so anyway. It's probably not as disgusting as my story. When I did that 24-hour Zwift fries, I dropped my pasta bowl into my pool of sweat. But I didn't eat it. Don't you worry about
You didn't eat it?
No.
Oh God, thank God. Well, that's not disgusting. That's just a waste. My phone had to then go back to my ear.
Oh anyway. No.
Never mind. It's all good. Right, so that was a hack, but the viewers you were on the fence with that one. Well, Lewis 07 Cole, this is an absolute perler. So this is a Di2 hack. He's basically been inspired by Chris Froome's climbing shifters, and he's made his own. So this is like my favourite kind of hack. Electronics, which I don't understand, and like soldering and all sorts of exciting things like that. So 100% hack. That is the neatest satellite shifter I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. And the GCN app audience, 94% said hack. So yeah, fair play to you. That is a killer job on that. My skills are definitely not up to electricals yet. Just saying.
But you can weld, James, just about. So, you know.
And I enjoy a bit of welding, I have to say. So yeah, hopefully I'll have a few more welding projects so I can up my skill level. But yeah, no, I enjoyed doing that. Right, we got one in from Michael B. Roller trainer. Build my son, who's 11, or for my daughter, who's 3, to train daily. 100% is his work and his project. And it works! And how cool is that? He's got his little pin bike, his daughter's bike, I'm guessing, on the rollers. That's so cool.
That does look cool. Although, to be fair, from where I'm sat, the garden looks like it might be big enough to actually just ride round. So I might be tempted to do that rather than sit on rollers. But still, Don't let that take away from your hard work. I think that's probably a hack, isn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And I think Mark Beaumont actually did something similar for his daughter. So she
I think that was a bodge though, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, I think that was a bodge. I think you're right.
Right then, this one from Chris I thought was absolutely brilliant. I had this rack made so that I can take my bikes out of the city of Ho Chi Minh and enjoy the jungle trails and open roads. So he's got his mountain bike on there at the minute, but he said he can swap out the mount so he can go from through axle to quick release. That's super cool, mate. That must be right up your street, surely.
Mate, that is so up my street. That's given me a lot of inspiration, and I think I might actually give that a go. Because I couldn't think of anything cooler than having my Pinarello F12 on the back of my motorbike. I mean, what more do you want? But
I think personally, I would want someone else to weld it other than you. I think it's fair to say. But still, mate, you know, right, maybe experiment with a cheaper bike before you put one of your nice bikes on the back there. But yeah, no, that's a hack from me.
100% hack from me too.
Nice, and 78% of you, the GCN viewers, say hack as well. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Right, one last one. Someone who has done some welding. This is from Dylan Day, who's welded up a custom bike work stand on top of a tool trolley here, which is great. That's a hack from me. Hack from you, James?
It's a hack from me. 100% clean, looks good against the wall, and it serves a great purpose. Love that.
Nice. Yeah, right. Now, make sure you head over to the GCN app because there's loads of super cool hacks and bodges on there, not just the highlights that we pick out for you each week here on the GCN show. And of course, if you want to submit anything to Hack or Bodge, then the GCN app is your one-stop shop for that as well. It's Captions Competition time now, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is think of a witty caption to a photo we're about to give you. We'll start with last week's results first. This was the photo, Mark Cavendish, back in the archives obviously, with an enormous bunch of bananas and a very jealous Elia Viviani looking on. Who do you think was the winner, James?
Well, the winner of this one is Tim Bishop for his caption, Cavendish likes winning a whole bunch. Genius.
That is good, isn't it? That is genius. We had a lot of entries to Caption Competition last week, so it was hotly contested. So congratulations, Tim. I thought that was an absolute perler. This week's photo is Jakob Fuglsang. Well, that's the snapshot of real life, isn't it? There he is on his trainer in his garage, just thrashing out the miles instead of racing the Giro, whatever he's supposed to be doing at the minute.
Yeah, I don't think his daughters find it as exciting as the racing, but nevertheless, she's definitely enjoying herself, isn't she?
Yeah, right. Enough for this dilly-dally, James. We're going to have to come up with a caption.
Go on, mate. I know you can do a better job than I can, so over to you, mate. The mic is all yours.
Thanks, mate. It's not saying much, is it? Fuglsang Jr. looks on anxiously as her dad warms up for the main event, taking her out for a bike ride. I mean, it's more like a story than a caption, and it's certainly not very funny, but I mean, it's at least relevant to the photo, so I've got to get some marks for that.
Mate, to be honest, it's far better than what I could do, but luckily, our audience is, well, a lot better at captions than we are, so I cannot wait to see what you guys, what your captions are down in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to this one. Right, now's the time where we have a look at your amazing comments that you've been leaving under all the videos this week. And I'm going to kick off with one from the Racing News Show. From Dean Sinclair. I'm not saying they're the same person, but have you ever seen Lasty and Connor in the same place at the same time?
Well, it's very hard to get them on camera at the same time, isn't it? Because Connor is about 2 feet taller than Lasty. So yeah, framing is an issue. But no, there are two of them, definitely. Right, under last week's GCN show, there was, I want to say a lot of people who were enjoying the gardening segment. I think there were about 5 people that enjoyed the gardening segment, but still, they really enjoyed it. So Mako Beauty, Simon talking about alliums is the content I never knew I needed, but can't live without it now. Nick W, my wife nearly fell off the chair at Si's gardening interlude. She's asked for any advice on black spot on roses that doesn't involve WD-40. I'll see what I can do. Most remedies do involve WD-40, obviously, but anyway.
Yeah, Josh Peck came up with this. Si's attracting all the birds, pigeons and crows now. Yeah, to be honest, I'm excited every time I have a sneak peek into Si's garden. It always seems to amaze me. We've got one from Binnett Bob. Brother-in-law Nigel. I've cut the grass 4 times this week. Connor, 4 times? Why can't I do that? Brother-in-law Nigel, you know why. Absolute genius. I think the brother-in-law Nigel was one of the great finds of these isolation videos, wasn't it, Si?
I'm just imagining Connor like stumbling upon him somewhere in the back of a shed on the farm, like, "Oh, hello, who are you?" But no. What I want to know is why Connor's not allowed to mow the grass. That at some point he's on holiday, Connor, this week.
Yeah,
I
don't think he can fit his legs under the steering wheel. I think that should be a slight issue.
And that probably is actually true, isn't it? There's also a lot of love out there for Manon's really great video she did on Friday, giving out some essential tips for beginner cyclists. William Direction said, thanks Manon, one thing I will say, the old Brits know how to build stone walls. What a great place to stop for a snack. And yeah, we do know how to build stone walls, don't we? That's
I think we've mastered that, haven't we?
Yeah, indeed. Right, now sticking with the theme of Manon's video, beginner tips, we've got a lot of content coming up actually, aimed to help out all these amazing new cyclists coming into the sport that, are turning to it as a result of coronavirus pandemic, but are hopefully discovering everything that we've already known all along, which is that it's amazing. So anyway, on Wednesday, we've got how not to ride like an idiot. That's probably for all of us actually during this coronavirus pandemic. We've got 6 best things to upgrade on your bike on Thursday. We've got how to set up your new road bike on Friday. Then we got 6 mistakes we've all made on Sunday. So yeah, a load of cool content coming up, as well as much more besides, including, of course, all of that great Giro content that is on the GCN app at the moment.
It's now time for Extreme Corner. Now, Si, I hope you've crossed your arms.
I have, yeah.
In true extreme fashion. Right, this one is an absolute belter. We did mention it, it's the intro to the show. And it is, of course, a little sneak peek into Fabio Wibmer's office, isolation office. And if you ask me, it's an absolute killer, so watch this.
Whoa, man, that is nuts, isn't it? Although, I've got to say, James, have you got a swimming pool in your home office?
I haven't got a swimming pool, but if I had a little bit more time on my hands, if we were stuck in this isolation a little bit longer, I also think I could do a few of those skills, Si. I'm backing myself.
Yeah, I think you would throw yourself off a roof into a swimming pool, James. I think no one's arguing about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, as we said at the top of the show, do make sure you check out Fabio's full video. It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Right, James, thank you very much, mate, for your company today. It's been an absolute pleasure to do the GCN show with you, as always, in fact.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, Si. And it's been nice to hear your voice, mate. It's been a while, isn't it?
Yeah, it has indeed. Right, please, if you've enjoyed watching, give this video a big thumbs up, and we will see you back here next week.